Well, we are here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A huge fight night has been announced today. Tyson Fury defends against Derek Chisora and Daniel Dubois defends against Kevin Lerena. And I'm joined by the man who's pulling strings, the magic man himself, Frank Warren. How did we get here? How did this fight come about, this fight night come about?
Well, originally December, a few months ago, was going to be the unification with Usyk. Usyk said that he wouldn't be ready, so that's pushed back to the end of February, March. Then we worked hard on trying to get the AJ fight over the line. We spent a month on that.
Cost you an extra 10 grand as well, didn't it?
Cost me 10 grand, because I felt we could do it, but they didn't want the fight. And then we're in a position where I've got to find him an opponent. And the highest ranked opponent, who's ranked number 9 by BoxRec, was Derek Chisora. So we eventually got that over the line, and it was important that Tyson has a fight before the end of the year, because if he's fighting Usyk and he didn't have anything between, he'd have been out of the ring for a year. So he's got Derek Chisora.
So, but the plan is very much Usyk first quarter of next year. That's the sort of things that I'm hearing. Is that the case?
That's correct.
And how locked in are we for a fight like that?
Well, we're not locked in yet, because he's got to get this fight out of the way, and if he gets it out of the way, I think it'd be pretty much easy to do.
And you are, you may not notice this, but you're actually delivering Derek Chisora his second world heavyweight title fight. You gave him his first against Vitali.
Yeah, I'm a benevolent chap.
But I mean, what are you expecting in terms of the fight night? It's a great opportunity for Daniel Dubois, by the way, to be part of this whole show, making the first defence of his.
It is,
title.
and he's got a good opponent. You know, Kevin Lerena has got a good record. He only lost one fight, and that was about 8 years ago, and he reversed that decision by knocking the guy out who got the points win over him. He's a southpaw, and I think he's going to ask some questions of him.
And that's what we need, really, isn't it? I mean, he's teamed up with Shane McGuigan, but he's still looking like the same Daniel Dubois, just banging everyone out. Yeah,
well, that's what he is. So this fella will pose him some questions.
Well, if Daniel Dubois is in the business of one day fighting Alexander Usyk, he could do a lot worse in terms of kind of practice for that than a cruiserweight coming up who's a southpaw. Yeah,
same as what Usyk was, same as what David Haye was, same as what Holyfield were. You know, they were really good cruiserweights, and they come up a weight. How
many Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora press conferences have you been involved in over the years?
3.
Yeah? I mean, what are you expecting today?
I don't know, to be quite honest. You know, I just want to get the fight. I mean, it's been such a pain in the backside for everyone. Just get this fight up, running, and I'm just looking for a real good fight on the night. I would expect Derek Chisora, this is his last big chance to come and bring his A game, and he's fighting, for me, he's fighting the best heavyweight bar none in the world at the moment, who I think has the beating of all of them.
Well, you said recently, when this fight was talked about, you said that you believe that Derek Chisora would give Tyson Fury a better fight than Anthony Joshua. Can you tell us more about this?
Because I think he's got a better chin.
Just comes down to that?
Yeah.
What are you expecting from this version of Derek Chisora, though? I mean, the fight that we saw 8 years ago, he's changed his nickname, right? He's called War now. He's got all these fans now.
That's it. He is what he is, and he's a changed man. Listen, I expect him to do the best he can. Listen, he gave Usyk all the problems in the world, didn't he? Only lost that fight by a couple of rounds. A lot of people had that very close. So Usyk, as we all know, is not a bad fighter. He did the 2 fights he had with Dillian White. I thought he won the first one. I thought it weren't a great decision. And the second one, he was in front till he got clipped. He's coming off a win against Pulev. That's his opportunity. But having said that, I just think Tyson's too good for all of them.
And where does Joe Joyce fit into this mix? He's come off that tremendous win over Joseph Parker.
Well, he's the interim champion, so he's the mandatory to Usyk.
It felt like he announced himself with that win, and now
he did, big time.
Could we see Tyson and Joe at some point?
Maybe next year. Tyson spoke about it, actually.
He just spoke to me about it. He said something about if Usyk ain't ready, I'll get Big Joe.
There you go. So that shouldn't be difficult to make then.
And in terms of the rest of the undercard, I understand there is an Usyk connection. There's a fighter on there managed by Alex Krasak on this undercard.
That's right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
So good that you guys are working together.
We are, and I'm pleased to be doing that.
It's all heading the right way.
It is. Fingers crossed. Provided we don't no banana skins on the third.
I checked the tables earlier, Frank. They do look a little loose. So
well, we screw them down. I told them to screw them down.
Yeah. Better be. Frank, I'll see you up there very, very shortly.
I look forward to it, young man.
Brilliant. Can't
Cheers,
wait.
Dev.
All
Good
right.
man. Cheers.
That's Frank Warren, and I'm Dev Sani, and very shortly we'll begin the official live press conference to launch this event. Tyson Fury, back-to-back stadium fights here in the UK. He's just done Wembley Stadium with 94,000 people. He's about to do Tottenham Hotspur against Derek Chisora. I can't wait for this fight. Look, you know you can't wait for this fight. You'll be watching it when it all happens on December 3rd. And of course, Daniel Dubois against Kevin Lerena, mouth-watering. Chief support. We'll see you very shortly.
Fury with the uppercut! What a punch! The right uppercut! Dillian Whyte flat on his back at Wembley Stadium with an absolute peach of a punch. He beats the count, but he doesn't know where he is. The bell might know it's off. It's called off. It's all over. And Tyson Fury defends the WBC Ring Magazine and Lineal Heavyweight Championship with the punch of his life. What a punch! Right uppercut. Dillian Whyte never saw it. He felt it and he couldn't recover from it. And 94,000 people were here at Wembley Stadium to see it. Tyson Fury still the champion. What a finish.
What a peach of a right uppercut that was, and it was totally unexpected. I don't think anyone was expecting that shot.
chair. Where's
I'm not sure which seat. I think I'm there, yeah. I think Frank's there. Yeah.
Where you want me to sit?
Yeah, I think Frank's in there, yeah. Please take their seats. The press conference will start very shortly.
Right, Bob, me old son. All right, Frank, me old son. All right, Derek, me old Corey. You talk.
All right, well, there's your entrance. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here today at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's great to see so many of you here, as we'd expect, for a fight announcement of this magnitude. We're here because on December the 3rd, we've got a huge night of heavyweight boxing. It's live on BT Sport Box Office and, of course, on ESPN Plus in the US. We have not one, but two World Heavyweight Championship fights. The return of the WBC and lineal World Heavyweight Champion Tyson Fury, defending against a man who is guaranteed to bring a war to his door. Derek Chisora sat with me. We've got a mouth-watering chief support. Daniel Dynamite Dubois makes the first defence of his WBA heavyweight title against a tricky South African southpaw called Kevin Lerena, who may give him fits on December the 3rd. We will find out. It's all brought to you by Frank Warren on behalf of Queensbury, along with Top Rank, and of course Bob Arum is here today as well. Tickets go on sale at 12 o'clock noon tomorrow. Do not miss this, because the last time we had a stadium fight with Tyson Fury, the tickets went like that, and we're expecting the same to happen again. As you can see, it's a heavy-hitting top table here. We've got not one, but two Hall of Fame boxing promoters. Bob Arum joining us from America. Yeah, let's get a round of applause. Why not? Why not?
Two Hall of Famers. Two Hall of Famers. In boxing under one roof. And you're looking at a Hall of Famer right here as well, a future Hall of Famer. So that's three under one roof. We're not even at a convention.
So Bob Arum's here, and of course Frank Warren's here, the other Hall of Famer that Tyson referred to. And we have the challenger sat next to me here today, making his second challenge for a World Heavyweight Championship and coming off perhaps a career best win against Kubrat Pulev, the one and only Derek War Chisora, and the man who you've already heard from today, the lineal, the WBC World Heavyweight Champion, the man who needs no introduction really, Tyson Fury. And Frank, let's start with you. Let's bring you in here. Give us your thoughts heading into December 3rd, another huge night on UK soil for heavyweight boxing?
I think it's going to be a great night for boxing. You know, Tyson's the biggest attraction in world boxing by none. And here we are at another stadium where I'm hoping he's going to put on, I'm sure he will, a great performance against a guy who we know comes to fighting, Derek. And I used to look after Derek, and I know that Derek feels that he's got the beating of him. Me, I think Tyson's the best heavyweight on the planet. I really, bar none. I don't care who's opposite him. I think he's got the beating of everybody. But Derek's there to try and prove me wrong and try and prove Tyson wrong. But this is a great occasion. It'll be a fantastic fight, and it's a fight that Tyson can't afford to slip up on, because we're looking at that unification fight early next year, which doesn't give him a lot of time to prepare. So is Derek going to be a banana skin or not? He's the highest rated available fighter for him to fight. You go on BoxRec, and I'm going to read these out quickly to cut through why we made this fight. Number 1 is Usyk. Usyk was not available. He said he couldn't fight in December. Anthony Joshua, we wasted a month on that. He's not available. Deontay Wilder fought last week. Andy Ruiz, who's fighting Wilder in the mandatory. Then Dillian Whyte, who Tyson's beat. Then you've got Joyce, who wouldn't be available. He only fought recently. Ortiz, who got beat recently. Then you've got Joseph Parker, who Joyce beat. And number 9 is Derek Chisora. And number 10 is Pulev. So that is the independent rankings. So that's why we are where we are, with the highest available contender, who is Derek War Chisora.
And the target, Frank? Derek, did you want to say anything there?
No.
Not yet. It's coming. The target, Frank, is Alexander Usyk. I believe you mentioned it there, first quarter of next year.
Well, that's where we want to be, but obviously we've got to focus on this one. And the reason Tyson is fighting is because he fought in April. The Usyk fight, if it happens, is not until next late February, March. If he didn't fight in between, it'd be nearly a year out the ring, and that's not going to happen. He needs to fight. I gave him my word. I'll put a show on by the 3rd. That's what we've delivered. And he needs to be in the ring. He needs to fight. He's been training, and he needs, after this fight, if he comes through it, he needs to be in a position where he can get into a camp and have adequate preparation for a big fight, provided he gets through the fight.
Well, let's bring in Bob Arum, joining us from America today. Great to have you, Bob. A second consecutive stadium fight in the UK for Tyson Fury. Give us your thoughts heading into this one.
Well, this fight is in a stadium which is now dear to my heart, because after 10 miserable years, my football team, the New York Giants, beat the Green Bay Packers here 2 weeks ago. So I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted for another reason, because when I look over the great fighters we have in the United States and the attraction, I tell you this honestly, there is no fighter in the world as popular as Tyson Fury.
You top.
And the fact that we'll be able to bring the people in the United States this fight, which I think will be a terrific heavyweight fight, to the fans in the United States, right in the middle of the college football season, so it'll get a really prominent spot on ESPN, is great for the sport of boxing, and it's great that we can do this as a Christmas present to the fans in the United States.
And what do we make of our challenger, Derek War Chisora? What are your thoughts, Bob?
I have a few thoughts about it. Number one, people say, well, Tyson beat Chisora twice early on. But I say, look what Chisora did with Anthony Usyk, with Alexander Usyk. That fight was a touch-and-go fight all the way before Usyk was able to pull it out. So when then Usyk was made with Anthony Joshua, people said, hey, Usyk has no real chance because look how he struggled with Chisora. But as you saw, Usyk handled Joshua 2 times far, far easier than he matched up against Chisora. That's number 1. Number 2, this gives me nightmares, with all due respect to Tyson, who I love dearly. I remember years ago, Tommy Morrison had won the heavyweight, WBO heavyweight championship against George Foreman, and was matched in a unification fight with Lennox Lewis for then record-setting purses. And his manager said, hey, give Tommy a tune-up fight to get him ready for Lennox Lewis. So we did, in Tommy's hometown in Oklahoma, against Michael Benn. And the bell rang and Tommy went across the ring and started throwing punches like mad at Michael Benn. And Benn hit him with a right hand and knocked Tommy cold. And that, for that point in time, was the end of a fight with Lennox Lewis and a $10 million, which was a lot of money, purse to fight Lennox Lewis. This is boxing. Every time you match particularly heavyweights in against hard punching opponents, you have to really say a lot of prayers that something bad doesn't happen. So while I have all the confidence in the world in Tyson Fury, who I believe is the best fighter pound for pound in the world, I'll be as nervous as anyone the night of the fight.
Well, let's bring in our challenger, Derek Chisora. Derek, the floor is yours. You've heard that you're potentially giving Bob Arum nightmares. What are your thoughts heading into December 3rd?
Am I? I don't know. Give a shout out to Frank Warren, Bob Arum, and the Gypsy King. I'm buzzing. Tottenham. I'm a Man United supporter, you know, but we did well last night. Yeah, it's a great fight. I'm buzzing, so, you know, this will be a good fight. I can't really say much because they put a gag on me in the contract, so for me to go here and start saying much, I can't really, so that's how I leave it.
There was a confrontation last month at the Joyce Parker fight. You seem to come to loggerheads at ringside where it looked like you two did say much, and in fact you said he's a chicken afterwards, or he chickened out. What happened? No. I have to give a shout. You know, Tyson, he's always said there's going to be a third fight, and then the fight is here now. So I'm excited. You know, I thank Tyson for giving me the opportunity to fight him. You know, give a shout out to his whole family. I'm buzzing. Is there bad blood? Not really, but, you know, I want to take what's his and make mine. You know, so I can't box him. I can't. So I have to go with it mentally of, I have to physically take what's his and make mine. You know, so for me to sit here and try and say different things, it's not the way I operate. So now I have to get in my mindset that, you know, there's going to be loads of leathers chucked, punches chucked. I'm excited about that, you know, but the end goal, I have to take what's his and make mine. That's my whole objective to this fight now. So what's his, I want to make it mine. You know, physically, mentally, I want and come and take it off him. That's how I'm training right now. You know, I want to take it. I don't want it. I want to physically take it off him. That's what I want. You know, the same way he went to LA and Vegas twice, he went there, physically took what was Deontay Wilder and made it his. You know, so this is exactly what I want to do. I want to come to Tottenham and physically take what's his and make mine. Well, let's bring in Tyson Fury. Tyson, you've heard there from Derek. He says he's going to come and physically take what is yours. Your mic is live. Over to you.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you to Frank and Bob and Queensberry and Top Rank for putting on a fantastic show here. Secondly, I'd like to say massive thank you to Frank Warren, because he's a man of his word, and for more than one reason before we start the press conference is Frank Warren promised me when I returned from my short retirement that I would fight in December. And we tried to fight Joshua, we tried to fight Usyk, we tried to fight a few people, but they didn't want no smoke. So Frank is delivering this date on December the 3rd. So big shout out for that, Frank. And also, massive respect, because in my bag here, can you bring me bag up here, please? I have £10,000 in cash that I've collected today from Mr. Frank Warren. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 10. That's 10 grand in cash that Frank has brought for me today, because I bet Frank Warren £10,000 that Joshua won't sign the contract. Guess what? 10 grand richer, tax-free, bet money. You don't. Put that back in my bag, please, and hold it tight, because that 10 grand means more to me than 10 million, because I've got it in my hand physically and I want it from Frank Warren. So I think you beat me with Joe Parker the other day, so now I'll beat you with this one. So fair play, Frank. And as for me trying to sit here and sell Derek Chisora to the fans, I ain't got to sell absolutely nothing to nobody, because if we go to that bar over there and we order a treble Jack Daniels on the rocks, we know what the fuck it's going to do. We know what it's going to do. So when I say Chisora, don't forget, like, you got the so-called guys in the division that people, oh, these guys are top guys. We offer them big fights, no smoke, no smoke. You offer it to Derek Chisora, boom, he sat here opposite me. Man's got balls. And in today's society, in this boxing game, there's a big lack of balls. And you know who you are, these people who don't want no smoke. So with Chisora, he comes and he says exactly what it says. He does what it says on the tin. He goes to war. He's changed his name from Del Boy to War. And we're going to get a war. Now, however, I did outbox him comfortably the second time. But Chisora's style has changed, and guess what? So was mine. I used to be a tip-tap boxer on the back foot, jibbing and jabbing around the ring, and now I'm a HMS destroyer. So when you got two heavy forces colliding with massive bombs, and guess what? Someone's getting knocked out. That's all I'm saying, you know. If he lands a punch on me, a big swing, I'm getting knocked out. If I land a big swing on him, he's getting knocked out. So the fans are going to win here tonight. 100%, because when 70,000 fans out there, which that will sell out in one day, 70,000, second back-to-back stadium fight, and who better than my old mate Derek Chisora to have a third fight with, whom I promised for years to have a third fight. Good money. Bringing it back to England again for the British economy in hard times. People will come here and spend money in London, so that helps restaurants, pubs, bars, hotels. And then Chisora's getting paid, I'm getting paid. What are we going to do? We're going to spend it in England, in the shops, bars, restaurants, pubs, nightclubs, strip clubs, whatever, how we spend our money, I don't know. So it's all staying in this country. So, you know, fair play to it. And, you know, me and Chisora's going to put on a hell of a fight, and that's it. May the best man win.
Tyson, you said that you believe you'd knock out Anthony Joshua, and that you could beat Derek Chisora in between rounds. Now, it feels like it's got a tad more frosty recently between you. There was that ringside confrontation. Do you stand by that statement?
100%. I can beat anybody in the world. Always have been able to, and always will be able to. All the time I'm boxing, I can beat anybody. There's nobody that can touch me. I'm on a league of my own, I believe. And, you know, He done very well against Usyk, and may I say, who the hell is Usyk when he's at home? People don't even know his name until he beat the bodybuilder the other day. He was a little small heavyweight who was not going to do anything against AJ when Chisora fought him, but then he stepped up and beat the big bodybuilder, and all of a sudden he's a killer. I don't think so. Listen, I rate Derek Chisora as highly as I rate Usyk, and I will train as hard for Derek as I would do any man in the world. And if I didn't, I'd have to be an absolute idiot. I will not underestimate Derek Chisora. And what Bob's talking about, the Michael Benn, Tommy Morrison, no disrespect to both of them, but if you combine them both, they won't make my left shoe. So that ain't happening, because I prepare correct. And I prepare hard, and I do everything correct. I don't cut any corners. And when I go in there, I leave everything in the ring and God forbid I got beat, it won't be for the fact that, oh, I had an injury or I didn't train hard enough. It would be the fact that I lost to a better man on the night. So I wish Chisora all the luck in the world, and we're going to have a fight, and that's it. Going to be a good fight too, because he don't shy away and I'm running nowhere, so someone's getting chinned.
Derek, let me ask you this, right? Tyson's taken centre stage there.
You should. See, sure.
Well, what do you see when you look at him now? If you have a little look at Tyson Fury, what do you see when you look at that man? A man you know.
He's shrunk a little bit.
A handsome rogue.
He's shrunk a little bit.
Anything else?
He's shrunk.
Have you seen any vulnerabilities in his last few fights? Is he the same guy that beat you 8 years ago?
He's got a chip on his shoulder, Tyson, about AJ. I don't understand why. I think the whole Bob Arum and Frank Warren have a massive chip about AJ. I don't understand why. Why is that, Frank?
Like a ball. A chip.
Yeah, I mean, like you're so upset, you know that.
Listen, I believed in him. It cost me 10 grand. I thought he was going to fight.
Yeah, but there's complications in the whole
anyway,
thing.
You know what?
Yeah,
don't worry about
it.
But
You
don't even want to worry about it.
Yeah,
all
I'm
you
not
need
worried.
to worry about is one thing. This man to my right. That's all you need to worry about.
Frank. I don't worry about anybody. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. You know why? Put me in a room with so many guys. I don't worry about anything. I am that guy you need.
If I was fighting him, I'd worry about it.
No, I don't have to worry, man.
Yeah,
He's a big guy. I don't give a
He's a big
shout.
guy, and he can punch and he can box. He's a fighting machine.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will.
We shall see.
Do you know what, guys? You two need to get a room, because it wasn't so long ago when I was stood up here on my own, the little old boy from Manchester, and you two versus me. And now how the tables have turned. The tables have turned. It was all of a sudden, yeah, Chisora, knock him out. And now look, the big man has hit the stage, get up! And now, like Chisora once said, I have the big fish promoter behind me. So thank you very much.
The only thing Frank Warren don't have on is a dress, because he'll go anywhere with his money.
What'd you say?
I said the only thing you don't have on is a dress, my friend, because you go anywhere there's money, my friend.
I don't have a dress.
Ooh, shots fired.
I didn't understand it. Say it again.
I say the only thing you don't have on is a dress, because wherever there's money, you will go there. You get it? Everybody got it.
I thought that was your game. Hey. You know, I never listen. One thing I've never done is go and hoard myself, Derek.
Oh.
Go and look in the mirror, son. Go and look in the mirror. All you need to do now, Derek, is get yourself ready for the third.
What? I can't hear you.
Third, you be there. We're gonna have a fight.
You know what? We should get Eddie Hunt on the phone and figure out how we're gonna sell out this stadium. Well, let's get Eddie Hunt on the blower quickly.
I think he's actually trying to ring Eddie Hunt.
Let's phone Eddie. No, we have to figure out how we're going to sell the stadium.
He can't help you. You've got to fight the big man. He ain't going to be able to do nothing for you. He's gone into hiding.
He's not. He can help. He sells the stadiums every day.
But Derek, you understand Frank's delivering you a world title fight the second time in your career.
Mate, we know who's paying you. Don't worry about that.
Listen, yeah, Frank is delivering Derek the second world title, and all Eddie Hearn could do was try and use him as cannon fodder. Didn't deliver anything, did he? It was Frank who delivered the first world title shot against Klitschko, and then the second world title shot against GK for the WBC belt.
No, I got it. I delivered myself, man.
Rubbish.
I'm only here because of myself. It's not because I'm here. I'm here because you called me and said, "Oh, listen, do you want to fight me?" I'm like, "Yeah, speak to mommy and daddy." And then you got mommy and daddy with you. But you see anyone with me? No. That's mommy and there's daddy there. And then you go bigger son there. So that's why I'm here. You know, you phoned me and said speak to mommy and daddy. And now we're here. So it's cool. Do you understand?
Oh, and by the way, what happened to this? Oh, Tyson Fury never offered me no fight. You little bullshit artist. I spoke to your manager on the phone.
Where is
and
he?
yeah, I don't know where he is. I don't even know what he looks like.
He's there. KD!
Who?
KD!
KD was on the FaceTime to me, wherever KD is.
He's there. He's right next to the
So
money.
he knows
KD, take that bag of money. Don't
that he
worry,
was offered this fight.
Take that bag of money. We're in Tottenham. Take that bag of money. Don't worry.
That's KD. He knows. He
Take
knows.
the bag of money.
He knows the fight was offered, and Chisora was saying, "Oh, Tyson's a bipolar. He says a load of shit." But here we are again, the fight's been offered and now you've accepted. So guess what? I'm not that bipolar, am I? Because we're making it, it's done. Derek has signed the
Sit
contract.
down,
You
man.
talk.
Just sit down, man. Just sit down. Where'd you get
I'm sick of sitting down. I spent 4 hours on a train. I'm standing.
Tyson, same question to you. What do you see when you look over here at Derek Chisora, a man that you've seen so many times in your life? What do you see now when you look at him?
I'm not going to sit here and call Derek Chisora names, because I won't. I fought the man twice, and I respect Derek, and I'm actually a fan of Derek Chisora. When this man fights, even when he was fighting my mate Joe Parker, I wanted them both to do well, which is crazy. A draw would have been the best outcome for me because I've supported them both. And you only can look at Derek Chisora's resume and respect a man like that. He's fought everybody. He's fought the greats of this generation and other people as well. And he always comes and brings his A game. So Chisora's had 12 losses on his record, but 8 or 9 of them have been to world heavyweight champions, or past champions, or former champions, or future champions. So you've got to respect him, and that's it. I've got nothing bad to say about Derek. I think he's a good fighting man, and he brings his A game every time. Whether it's going to be good enough to beat me, I don't think so. Because no disrespect to him or anybody, I just don't think any of these people can beat me. In my reign right now, I'm reigning supreme, and I'll beat him. And then when I beat the little middleweight guy, people are going to say to me, "Oh, he was too small. He was half your size. Let's not give him anything for it. He was always going to win." That's what they'll say. 100%. I've seen it so many times. Just like when I beat Wilder, all of a sudden Wilder was shit. He never was any good. And now he's knocked out Helenius, all of a sudden he's a killer again. But I've slain the killer. Slain him. But who knows? Get Chisora out the way. There might be a 4th Deontay Wilder fight. People say to me, "You beat Derek Chisora twice already. Why are you fighting him again? Who wants to see that?" But I say to you, I beat Deontay Wilder 3 times. 2 times in a draw, whatever you want to say. But who here would not want to see me versus Wilder for a 4th time? Not very many people. So we're here, we're going to fight, we're going to sell out this stadium, and we're going to put a good show on right before Christmas. And I'm going to go home and have a good Christmas with my family, and Derek can have the same with his. Happy days.
Derek, do you have any questions for Tyson?
No, I'm just getting ready my mindset for this fight.
What is the mindset? War?
No, mindset has to be massive. Mindset has to be so strong. You don't understand. You know, my mindset is going to be so tough. Yeah, on the night. Yeah, I think you've seen it tough about this. Not this time is going to be so tough. You don't understand. It's going to be like. It's like that bag with 10 grand in it. I'm just thinking right now. Is that bag going to leave Tottenham with 10 grand in it? Or he's going to get on the train with no money in it? Because I want that money now. This is the mindset I got. You know, I was already plotting of trying to rob that 10 grand when I was sitting here.
You don't need to rob it. You don't need to rob the man of 10 grand. I'm giving you a fortune in a minute. Just hold your horses to December and you get paid.
I'm trying to explain to you this, yeah. I want to take that and make mine now. You know, that 10 grand. You understand?
Take it then.
Yeah, no, but I don't want you to give it to me. I want to take it. I want to, you know.
Take it. Man's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Take it off him.
Don't worry, man. I'm a black belt in crazy. Listen, so you have to understand the mindset. The mindset is unbelievable right now. It's just crazy right now. So I'm just buzzing. You will see. You will see. You know. It's gonna be toe to toe, 100%. I'm buzzing for this fight.
Do you think you can knock him out?
I have to knock him out. I'm gonna drop him. Yeah.
Have you seen stuff in his recent fights? Because you've picked against him. You picked against him with Dillian Whyte. You picked against him. You say Anthony Joshua will beat him. Have you seen something?
No, I'll beat him. Yeah, I'll beat him. I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna stop him. I'm gonna knock him out. 100%. I'm gonna knock him out. And when I do knock him out, don't say anything else. Just say thank you and say congratulations.
I'll say thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to knock him out. 100%. I'm going to knock him out.
Good stuff.
All right, Tyson, well, look, over to you. You're right of reply to that. And what are your sort of final thoughts heading into this fight? How do you see it playing out when the first bell rings, December 3rd?
Listen, if he says he's going to knock me out, I want to see him do it. And if he does, I'll be the first one to congratulate him, shake his hand and say well done. Yeah, listen, I'm expecting a good fight, a good entertaining night of boxing in Britain again, in the second stadium back-to-back. I knew better than Derek Chisora to do it with. Man who turned up. Only thing I'll say is, don't get any injuries and don't get second thoughts. Turn up on the night, let's give the fans a fight. That even rhymed, wow.
All right, well, let's sign out with Frank Warren and Bob Arum. Bob, I'll come to you first. Give us your final thoughts ahead of this one, December 3rd.
Well, you know, this is really a great experience because these guys know how to talk. And I just hope that the fight will be as interesting as the discussion that we've heard today. And I think it will. I really look forward to a very, very exciting fight. It can't be anything else. Derek has said that the way to his victory is to knock Tyson out. And Tyson, you've seen what he's done in his last fights, knocking out his opponents. People love knockouts. That's what they're going to see on December 3rd. So we're going to see a really great competitive fight.
And just for the record, guys, I will do what Pulev and Usyk couldn't, and Parker. I will knock him out. That's it.
Frank, if you want to close on this, and also, are we heading into a territory now where this could be, if not the final, but one of the final times we'll see Tyson in the UK?
Well, if it comes through this one, then obviously the next one looks like it may be abroad. So if he does, he's going to be out there for a little while. I'm sure he'll want to come back to see the fans, but you won't see him on these shores for a little while. But having said that, all you need to do is you want to see Tyson in action, is to be here on the 3rd. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a knockout. It will be a knockout. This fight is not going the distance.
All right, Derek, anything you want to get off your chest before we close off?
KD, take that back quickly.
There's a man with £10,000 sweating, very nervous.
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but it's okay, you're a black belt in crazy. Take it back. I got your back.
He's got a black belt in origami.
What's that? Herpes?
And that sounds like a good note to end on. December 3rd, we will be back here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tickets go on sale at noon tomorrow via ticketmaster.co.uk. It's Tyson Fury, the best heavyweight in the world, WBC. There he is.
He's back.
He's back. Right here, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against this man, Derek War Chisora. It will be a war. Do not miss it. 12 o'clock noon tomorrow. Tickets go on sale. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bellew.
Don't get on your suit, son. It's a nightmare.
Scary.
Who's your tailor?
There he is.
Who? Is that the tailor? Huh? Oh yeah? Oh cool. Nice gift. I like it. Make sure the guy with the 10 grand don't go anywhere without seeing him, bro. I'll pay you any money, that 10 grand is not leaving Tottenham. Yeah.
Showed him.
You've got so much bipolar over AJ.
I've got nothing. Man's a coward. Man's a coward. And I'm just going to keep torturing him until he actually gets the balls to fight. Yeah, no he won't. Because that's why you've stepped in.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry.
Listen, you should let me manage you. I'm the man who's got you this 2 million quid, me, not AJ. And I'll do it for free. I won't take a tenner off you. Because I like to help people out for nothing. Free of charge. For old time's sake. Let me manage you. Let me manage you. I know you're nervous. Just calm down.
Man like me don't get nervous, boy. You don't nervous.
Like he said, I'm bipolar. Yes, I am. You can't chuck that at me as an offensive thing, because I am bipolar. We know that. I've got bipolar disorder. And what? So, you can't use it against me. I'm mentally unwell. You got to go in there with a mental patient, not me. Yes! Ah! Why would I do that? I don't want to get my ass kicked up in here.
Fuck it up as well.
Thank you.
Easy now, easy.
All right, thanks very much, guys.
Tyson to BT? Yes.
Where are we going now?
BT. Thank you.
Where am I?
Derek, you're coming this way.
By the way, guys.
Doing you next.
I think so, yeah. Andy Clark, I'm in esteemed company. Yeah, we good? All right. Well, look, I'm in esteemed company. I think we're looking over there. We can probably look everywhere. Let's give you a mic. Andy Clark, you've just witnessed a Tyson Fury Derek Chisora press conference. They're fighting December 3rd. Give us your thoughts. What did you make of the presser? What did you make of what was said up there?
Well, the press conference, they were both kind of true to character. Tyson is, I mean, he's kind of the king at this now, really. He knows exactly how to deliver. He knows what people want to hear. He's got that nice mix of humour and the serious side. So he's just a consummate professional at it now. And if ever a man was born really to sell a fight, it is him. With Derek, you're never quite sure. In that role that you're in, you're never quite sure, are you? Anything could come back. Anything could happen. I was in the press conference 6 years ago now with Dillian Whyte when the table went. And
were you at?
Yeah, I was there just a few feet away. It was all very kind of peaceful to start with, and then as it went on, he got a bit more rattled, and eventually he snapped. But he wasn't in that kind of mood today. And you know, I think what Frank Warren said at the start there, you know, these are facts when it comes to who was available and who wasn't. Yeah. And all of those people were ruled out, and people can say whatever they like, but that's true. They'd all boxed far too recently, and then of the candidates available, Derek Chisora is the best candidate. And you add in the fact that he's British, and they both know how to sell a fight.
Why wouldn't you do it?
Yes, exactly. It was the only logical step.
Yeah, I mean, and it feels like this is on the road to Alexander Usyk. From the noises coming from Frank Warren, Tyson Fury as well. It feels like Usyk is next, should he come through all of this. And Bob Arum was talking about how Chisora's given him nightmares as well. Yeah,
I mean, that's what we all want to see. And he alluded to the fact, Frank, that next fight, Usyk, would be not in the UK. We would expect that one to head to Saudi, because they want the biggest fights, and they're prepared to spend the money. So that's the kind of timeline that we're looking at here. But I know it's a cliche, but cliches, you know, they exist for a reason. It doesn't mean that it's not true when people say that one punch can change everything and anybody can knock anyone else out. I would say the chances of Derek Chisora knocking Tyson Fury out are slim, quite honestly. I would make Fury a huge favourite in this fight, as would everybody else. But at the same time, that doesn't mean it's not going to be competitive, because we know how Chisora fights. And as Tyson said, and this is a key point in his makeup now, he doesn't fight how he used to.
Exactly.
He doesn't get on his bike up on his toes and look to win on points. He wants to entertain. He wants to give people knockouts. He wants to give the crowd and the paying public what they want to see. And that means that he takes risks that he didn't used to. But this is prize fighting. You know, it's show business with blood. You know, that's what this is. And that's what he wants to do now. So they will meet in the middle. I don't see any other way.
Well, that's part of the intrigue here, because the way Tyson has beaten Chisora before was to box, to move, to be nimble, quick on his feet. That may not exist anymore. When was the last time that we saw that version of Tyson Fury? Was it Wilder 1?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
That was back in December 2018. We're now in December 2022 when this fight's going to be. That's 4 years later. 4 years of... you know, he's coming in at heavy weights as well, by the way. He's coming in much heavier in the last Wilder fight than he did against Chisora beforehand. Is he still... has he still got the style to necessarily do the same job on Derek Chisora?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he wants to. I think that's the key thing. I went to that fight at the XL end of November 2014 it was, and he mixed it up. Yeah, booked southpaw, stopped him late on. It was a late night, that one. It was a wild night too. Anyone who went to that will know exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't think he doesn't want to do that anymore. After the first Wilder fight, he looked at it, and this is what top performers do. They don't think, well, a bit more of a rubber to green with the scores there, and I'd have won that. Most people thought I won that, I can just do the same thing again. He thought, no, I can't have that again. Outboxing him is one thing, but I saw a few little signals in there that maybe if I'd been a bit bolder, I could have stopped him.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd do it that way the second time around.
He shocked everyone.
I thought it was smoke and mirrors, but he did it. And he's a seek and destroy merchant now. We saw that at the T-Mobile to great effect. We saw that against Dillian Whyte. That is how he wants to do it. Pure, red-blooded, old-fashioned heavyweight boxing. And he does come in heavy, and he can manipulate that weight if he wants to. But, I mean, I am told that he comes into the ring heavier than what he weighs in, which... You know, that's... So
he piles it on even after the weigh-in as a heavyweight?
Yeah, which is unusual, but somebody told me that he can play these crafty little games with his weight quite easily.
What about this version then of Derek Chisora? He's transformed from Del Boy to War, and with War there's been some significant wins, and with War we bring in someone who had a bit of a war in Manchester, but picked up a big win, Raven Chapman. Lovely to see you here. What did you make of the presser up there? Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora locking heads again.
Yeah, no table flipping for this one, which is
good news for me.
Yeah, good news. Yeah, you would have been on the end of that, wouldn't you?
I mean, he already had his eyes set on me. Chisora,
You were right up close, right
yeah,
next to him. No, it was to be expected. Two big guys. I mean, Fury doing his thing, being the showman that he is, and I'm loving the suit. I need to get myself one of those for these events, I think.
It's a great suit. I mean, the fight itself appears to have sort of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You're a long-time boxing fan as well. I'm sure you've probably seen the first couple of fights that they had. This feels like they're at completely different stages of their career. This is a different Tyson Fury to last time.
Yes.
It's a different Derek Chisora.
Yeah.
So what do you make of the actual matchup itself?
Like Frank said, when you look at the top 10, Chisora's the sort of next opponent that's available.
Exactly
it's logical, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. He's the highest one up there who is able to give Tyson a fight. Tyson wants a fight in December, so that's exactly what he's getting. And when you're in with Chisora, like he says, he brings war. So you're going to be in a fight with him, and I'm intrigued to see what happens. But I think we know maybe what the outcome will be. Obviously, I'll be back in.
Are you going to be on it?
Well, who knows?
Are those fingers crossed? Let's have a look.
Fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
Can't go anywhere without it now.
No, quite right.
So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a fun fight to watch. Two good styles that clash well. Chisora will be bringing it and taking it to the Gypsy King, and we'll see what happens.
This is dangerous though, Raven, I'm telling you. I mean, they keep talking about Usyk coming up in February, March next year. How can they keep talking about fights beyond this in heavyweight boxing? Bob Arum said it himself. He's terrified about things like this, having fights sort of locked in when you've got someone who can punch, who scored one-punch knockouts in the past in Derek Chisora. I'm scared, Andy.
We've seen it before.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think one of the most entertaining things about covering boxing is that we never learn from the mistakes of the past. As a species, humans, we don't really evolve much, do we? We just make the same errors that people have made for centuries gone by. And that's another one. I was out there at Madison Square Garden in New York all week for AJ Ruiz. Everyone's talking about Wilder. He announced his next fight. People are talking about that. In the fighter meeting with Anthony, there was about 2 questions about Andy Ruiz, and we're all talking about the next fight down the line. And then on the night, utter mayhem. It happens. It happens again and again and again.
You
but
see
people just fall into that trap, don't they?
It's
constantly.
The fighter overlooking the fight that they've got, not thinking it's important, looking ahead to the bigger and better options, when actually you still need to stay focused, because anyone you get in the ring, especially in the heavyweights,
you need the fear,
dangerous.
don't you?
One punch can change the whole outcome.
As a fight, you need that fear, don't you? Because I'm not saying that Joshua didn't do all his groundwork and didn't do all his sparring, and Tyson's obviously going to do everything in the gym, but you've got to have that little knot in your stomach that makes you feel like you could lose.
Yeah, 100%.
If you don't have that, then you're in trouble, aren't you?
That's the fire, and that's when, like we said, we've seen it before. We've seen it in that Ruiz fight with Anthony Joshua, because he was looking past Ruiz at the next options, and it's always dangerous to do. Heavyweights, anything can happen. One punch will change the whole outcome, and because of the weight behind the guys, anything can happen. You've got to stay switched on, and that's where that fear comes into it. That's what keeps you switched on through the fight. 'Cause if you're thinking it's going to be easy, you're not going to do that prep.
Well, do you think Tyson will kind of have his attention elsewhere? Because there will be talk of every other fight, big fight in the heavyweight division. People are talking about Joyce, Joshua, of course, Usyk. People are talking ahead. They're talking past this fight. And I remember in Manchester, people were talking about you and Amanda Serrano, right? So how did that affect you heading into the biggest fight of your career at the time? Was it on your mind at all?
No, because like you say, I knew I had a fight ahead of me with Dranini, and I had to be on the game and on the ball. And as much as there's talk of me fighting Serrano in the future, I know that's in the future, but for me to get to that fight, I have to fight who's in front of me now and do a good performance and pull it out of the bag. And if I'm focusing on that end goal, I'm not going to be able to do that now.
And Andy, big opportunity for Daniel Dubois on this card as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very entertaining to see him win that belt back in the summer.
Let's
bring it. Hello.
Wait, didn't you spar before?
Nice belt. Yeah.
Do you want to spar again? Anything?
No, thank you.
No.
No, thank you. I'm fine. I don't want to get chinned again.
How was that? You had a little face-off. I couldn't actually hear what was going on. So what was going on?
It was pretty normal stuff. What was going on? There wasn't too much back and forth. You know, we're fighting men. We've been here before. We're all veterans in this game now. We know what to expect. Train hard and fight easy, and that's it. It's going to be a massive crowd and a massive event yet again. 2 stadiums back to back. And that's it. We're going to have a great fight, and may the best man win.
So you're just saying that, like, you're not pinching yourself at all, considering where you were. Now suddenly, 2 stadiums back to back here in the UK. Think about that.
I've had an Indian summer. It's been the summer that just won't stop. I've come back from 28 stone to cracking America, becoming 2-time champion, and then beating Wilder in this trilogy thing that we did, then come back and have 94,000 at Wembley, and then retire for a little bit, and then come back again and do Tottenham 70,000. So it's an amazing thing for me as a person and as a boxing fan and as a boxer. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm really, really, really excited about doing a fight. I'm very happy. You know, I was retired for 4 months and I was sad and down and horrible, and now I'm back. I've got that bounce back in my step, and really looking forward to the challenge that Sugar's going to bring next week.
But you really had retired, hadn't you? I mean, you said yourself you could have taken a lie detector test. You were done.
100%. Normal life is out of the question for me. I can't live one, so I don't think I'll retire again.
Stylistically, Tyson, we were just talking about the shift between the first and second Wilder fight, and how you're capable of doing it any which way. You've demonstrated that, but is it fair to say that now what you want to do is give the people what they want to see, which is old-fashioned seek and destroy, kind of bloodthirsty knockout heavyweight boxing?
Yeah, I've produced it quite a lot lately. We've been working on it. Me and Sugar, we work on delivering a knockout, and that's what we've been practicing, and that's what we aim to do. We aim to do damage with every punch, and to take a man out with every punch, whether it's left, right, good night, or whether it's a jab and good night. Either punch will be able to knock a man out for sure.
What did you make of Derek up there then? You got up close to him. He had a bit of a back and forth with Frank as well. What did you make of the actual press conference itself?
It's just 2 veterans doing the job. You know, we're here to do a job and put a show on for the fans, and that's what we'll do.
Andy?
Like you say, you've been down this road with him before, but I mean, you enjoy it, these press conferences. I think that's the kind of like showman side of you. But at the same time, you know, you've been at this a long time now, and people would say that the only real danger in this fight for you is taking him lightly, but you've been doing this too long for that to happen. Yeah,
you know, I never take any opponent lightly. I give them all respect, and I train hard for everybody. And that's it. You know, Chisora is what he is. He's a ding. In the trade, we call people like Chisora dings, because I don't want to swear about him.
Well, he's just been saying you suck. He's been shouting out. I don't know if you heard it. He's saying, Tyson, you suck. Tyson, you suck. He's on BT's
tell
live.
Him not to tell anybody about that night we had, but unfortunately he can't keep it to himself. There we are.
You're predicting a big knockout, right?
Yeah.
He's predicting a knockout as well.
Well, it's going to be exciting then, isn't it? Son, get up.
We look forward to it. Andy, anything you want to finally ask the man here?
Well, it must be just great to have these fights in the UK, because Top Rank did an amazing job with you in the USA, and we saw those fights over there, and they were tremendous spectacles. But 94,000 at Wembley, 63,000 here. Did you think
70,000 here?
Did you think that this would happen a while ago?
Yeah. I thought that after cracking America, when I'd come back, it would be like this, and it has been. And I want to thank every fan, every person who's bought tickets, stayed up late to watch pay-per-views or whatever. You made it happen. Boxers just don't do this on their own. You got to capture the imagination of the paying public, and I believe that I've done that.
Tyson, let me ask you one final thing before I let you go. You made a 5-fight list before you fought Deontay Wilder for the 3rd time. That list was Wilder, it was White, it was Joshua, it was Chisora. As you are here today, what is your 5-fight list? Do you have one?
I don't have one anymore. My 5-fight rule is gone. I'm just treading water and going to go as long as I can. That's it, until somebody puts me out of my misery.
Do you think you'll retire from boxing, or someone will put you out of your misery?
Someone will put me out of my misery, because I won't be able to retire ever. I know that.
Pleasure talking to you, Tyson.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Catch up with you soon. Thank you. All right, I think we're hoping to be joined by Derek Chisora very shortly, but That was interesting, Andy. He said something there. He thinks boxing will retire him eventually. Not many fighters go out. Hold on, let's see what's going on here. Tyson and Derek Chisora are going back and forth. Chisora, of course, said that Tyson sucked, and Tyson had plenty to say about that. But on that point that he made about he thinks boxing's going to retire him, it's kind of sad to hear.
Yeah, that was really interesting, and it doesn't come as an enormous surprise because athletes of any description struggle when they retire, but I think particularly boxers it's difficult, and Tyson's had his struggles with mental health. He's an up and down kind of a character, and when you don't have that focus, you don't have that thing to aim for, to concentrate on, then I think people like him with a very active mind and imagination, you just find yourself in this state of drift. And it's no good for you, and you've got all the money you could ever possibly want, but what are you going to do with yourself? He's going to have to find an answer to it because he can't box forever, but whilst it's still available to him, I never really believed that he would stay retired. I believed it when he said it at the time because I think you can have a hard camp, you maybe got a few aches and pains and you think, God, I'm not doing this again. So when he said it, I believed him, but I just never thought that he would stick to it, and that's how it turned out. But this is a reality of boxing, isn't it? You know, not that many people get out on their own terms. Yeah. Usually it is the sport that retires them. You just want to see them get out healthy, basically, even if it's with a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth. Like Carl Frampton, who's just a few yards away, you know, he ended on a defeat which wasn't what he wanted.
But most fighters do, right?
But most fighters do, exactly. It's so hard to walk away off a win because people will just think, well, why don't you come back? You know, here's a big barrel load full of cash to fight somebody else.
Yeah. Well, look, it sounded like at the time that he had retired. I think he's retired before in the past as well, but he's back now. Once you start toying with the idea of retirement, once you start dropping that R word, is that a danger in itself? Because I remember Carl Frampton, who you mentioned there, ahead of his fight with Jamel Herring, he was talking about things like, if I don't win, I'm going to retire. And I've always felt that when fighters start talking about retirement, they edge closer and closer to it, and maybe it takes away the devil.
Yeah, I think that could definitely be a problem because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy if you set yourself this kind of end date. It's a huge cliche, but you really do have to take things a step at a time towards the end because you don't ever really know when that well's going to run dry. In football, we might see it over a period of time. Somebody's legs just start to go, they're not quite there anymore. I heard Gary Neville talk about this a couple of weeks ago, and he just knew that his performances were deteriorating, and we could see it. You know, not wishing to pick on him, but with boxers, because they only box once every 6 months, in one fight it can be there, and then in the next fight it's not. And it's a brutal time to discover that when you're mid-fight and you're sat on your stool and you're just thinking, wow, it's just not there anymore. And I think if you start to put any dates in place, put things that you want to achieve in place, fine, but you can never have an exact timetable for that. If you're thinking 3 more and I'm out, then I think you've got to the point really where you're boxing for financial reasons rather than for the real reasons, which need to be the achievement of winning belts and the greater glory, if you like. If you're thinking I'll have 3 more and I need to make this amount of money, that's fine because it's their living, but money by itself isn't enough, I don't think, particularly at that highest level, to sustain your interest to the extent it needs to be sustained for you to perform.
Well, look, we mentioned there's a fighter who's nowhere near retirement at the moment, Daniel Dubois, who's got himself a wonderful opportunity on this huge card. He's boxing in front of we're hoping it's going to be a sold-out Tottenham Stadium. I'm sure it will be. Tyson Fury's there, Derek Chisora's there. But what an opportunity for him on this grand stage.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, that was a good bit of business going over to America and getting that regular belt, whatever people think about it. I'm not a huge fan, to say the least, of the WBA.
They don't call it regular anymore, apparently.
What do they call it now?
It's the WBA Heavyweight Championship. So they've dropped regular from all the titles
and the super
titles.
Belt. Okay, maybe
the super exists.
Maybe regular was something we imposed. I'm not sure if they ever really had that officially, but anyway, we all know that there's 2 belts, and That's a bit of a nonsense, but if you can get one of them, then it puts you in a good position. And I think they're doing the right thing. They want to bed him in with that belt now for a while. There's no need for him to rush, because I think the fight against Joyce at the time they took it was a perfectly reasonable thing to do, but he wasn't ready for it, as it turned out. I think Joyce was probably better than people gave him credit for. That's where that kind of disconnect occurred. So I don't think there's any rush to try and catapult him up towards the top names, because I wouldn't have thought that he's ready for them. But he is still really, really young. That's what everybody needs to remember with him. And as you say, chief support on a night like this, invaluable experience. Being around all this kind of thing during the week as well might bring him out of himself just a little bit. So, yeah, it's a great one to tick off for Daniel Dubois, assuming all goes well.
Well, that fight that you mentioned there against Joe Joyce, I feel as though that's a performance from Daniel, who was up on the cards, rightly or wrongly, he was up on the cards. He did some good stuff in the fight. It's a performance, a losing performance, which is looking better and better the better Joe Joyce does. And Joe Joyce has just knocked out Joseph Parker. He's a hellaciously tough heavyweight, and he's looking like a top 5, top 4, top 3, I don't know, I might have him at number 2 heavyweight in the world. So Daniel Dubois' stock is going up every time Joe Joyce does something good, for me.
Yeah, that's a fair comment, because I went to that fight, I commentated on that fight, and I had him up. I think I had him 6-3 up through 9 rounds, maybe something like that, because he was the one on the front foot most of the time. Joyce did a good job of staying largely out of the way of the attacks, but most of the heavy work, if you like, was coming from Dubois. And it would have been a steep learning curve, that fight. He got caught with the jab a bit too much. He was probably a little bit too confident in his own ability, but that happens when you've always won, when you're used to winning. You can't ever see the wheels coming off. It's just not in an athlete's psyche to think, oh, well, I wonder what will happen. Whoa, what if he punches harder than I think? That doesn't work. Everybody loses at some point, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to get it out of the way sooner rather than later, because it's happened now. He knows what it feels like. You can use that as energy to try and make sure it never happens again. But the reality is that L is in the post for everyone, pretty much. And if it comes way down the line in the biggest fight you've ever been in your life and you lose, then that could be very difficult to come back from.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Andy, it's been a pleasure having you with me. Hope you enjoyed the presser. I'm sure there's going to be some fun build-up for this one. It's 2 of the most outspoken and spoken about heavyweights in the world. It's a fun fight, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And again, people will have their own opinion on how competitive the matchup is going to be, and what we know is that they will meet in the middle. What we know is that Fury will be an extremely heavy favourite. But what we also know is what Frank Warren said at the beginning of that press conference, and it's just a fact. Recent fights have taken almost the entire top 10 out of the equation. When you look outside of that, who are you going to go for? What would be the point in bringing Manuel Charr over here instead of Derek Chisora? How are you going to sell that compared to how you can sell Fury Chisora 2 Brits? It was a no-brainer. He wanted to fight again this year, so it was always going to be this.
And let's not forget, he's coming off perhaps a career best win as well against Kubrat Pulev. Andy, thank you. Thank you for joining us today on this Queensbury live stream. I hope you enjoyed the press conference. It's happening. Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora collide for the WBC and lineal heavyweight titles December 3rd, right here, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And of course, Daniel Dubois against Kevin Lorena, chief support on what should be quite a night for British boxing. We'll see you soon.
Fury with the uppercut. What a punch! The right uppercut. Dillian Whyte flat on his back at Wembley Stadium with an absolute peach of a punch. He beats the count, but he doesn't know where he is. The bell might... No, it's off. It's called off. It's all over. And Tyson Fury defends the WBC Ring Magazine and lineal heavyweight Heavyweight Championship with the punch of his life. What a punch! Right uppercut. Dillian Whyte never saw it. He felt it and he couldn't recover from it. And 94,000 people were here at Wembley Stadium to see it. Tyson Fury still the champion. What a finish. What a peach of a...